dominated the world have used money to rule it and have ruled it in their own interest. It looks at a world economic system that has no regard for the poor, that has no regard for the small nations, that has no regard for the poor of the small nations. And the policy is a dignified policy, is not a violent policy, is not a policy of guns. It's a very honorable policy, but it is a very clear policy. It is a policy that calls the poor of the world to stand together, to stand firm together, to struggle together, to struggle for change, to struggle for justice, to struggle through organization, to struggle through will, to struggle through determination, to struggle to build a new kind of world in which your children and mine will walk with more dignity, with better housing, with better opportunity, with better prices, with better response from the World Monetary System. That is the world to which I call you. That is the world for which I struggle, and no power will turn me back from that world. And comrades, if you go and walk with me, if you go and step with me, if you go and move with me, we're moving as warriors. We're moving in determination. We're moving to struggle. We're moving to change that world. No power will turn us back.
Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green, dog. Me no chow chow. No. Ha 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 ho ho. Who you know?
But if change is what we really want to see, ladies and gentlemen, then we must rise up. We must unite. We must advocate. We cannot remain silent. Where are the young men, the young women, the men, the women, the boys, the girls who will put aside political divide and do what is best for Jamaica? Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. Even our pledge, our national pledge, says before God and all mankind, we cannot see a better Jamaica unless we return to the foot of the cross. Jamaica under God must increase in beauty, fellowship and prosperity, and play our part.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I said I'm happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his hand. Yes, mommy, I see you. Yes, the journey is almost over. Shut up. And the battle is nearly won. And I have a feeling. I have a feeling in my heart. The best is yet to come. Slide of it over there, so wanna ready to get up, no man. I feel mad in this place. Let's go. I am happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his. Over there, so I said the journey's almost over. I know the battle is nearly won, and I have a feeling in my heart the best is yet. Come on, sir. I said the best is yet to come. When I walk through heaven's gates, yeah, I said the first time I'll see Jesus, I can hardly wait. And he showed me to a mansion and said, child, this is your home. And I have a feeling in my heart. You know this one? Listen, shut. Tell me.
Oh, you know. I want to hear the angels singing. I want to be in that number. I want to hear that trumpet song. We have done now. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear archangel. What I want to hear when my name is called. I want to hear. Everybody know. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. Watch out now. I want to see the angel marching. I want to be in that number. I want to hear. I want to hear that trumpet song. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear. God bless you now. I want to hear. When the name is called, I want to hear. Everybody do so. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be here. Get something and wave it. Get something and wave it. Get something out. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be happy. Walk out, Christian, walk out, Christian. I only live my life to please. Send me rocking for the road and the star on my phone. I only live my life to please. Live up my life. Come on, man, we have done, man. Everybody so. Live up my life. silent night. What a holy night. But your virgin mother and child. Holy, so tender. Talk to me now. But sweetly, God bless you, God bless you. Let me tell some people, I know one prayer we pray.
Blood and fire, comrades who are in jungle tonight. On the nose that the word is love. Comrades, me come with a speech, but it's a different speech me have to give tonight. But before I go into that, we have been saying all night that young people know say time come. And I want to bring up a young man who has looked for himself, him read for himself, him search for himself, and when him done, him realize that the only choice he could choose is the People's National Party. And I want to welcome Comrade Perry.
Hold on. We don't have much time. When I say time, you say come. Time. Senator Murray, somebody asked me, Perry, why aren't you a Labourite? Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow. No. Ha, ho. Who ya know? Underpants, Paulo. We the gal in the
Hold on, cut in, man. Hold on.
Me coulda never green.
Hold on, no DJ, man. Hold on. I don't have much time. The next Prime Minister, let me shake your hand, so big up yourself, Mark Golin, Jensek, and brother, Dayton Campbell Doctor. Listen, in 1938, the People's National Party was formed out of the vision to help the poor people. It was born out of restlessness of the people seeking for better. And I believe that the People's National Party continues to be the answer for the people. Can I hear an amen? Hold on. In 1995, under the auspices of PJ Patterson, the most honorable, there was a revitalization and an extension of the new National Youth Service Program, which gave young people the opportunity to earn Commanderman Church. It gave people the opportunity to better themselves. I don't have much time, but hear what? I hear the other people them say, you must choose Jamaica, but you can't choose Jamaica without choosing the people. God bless you.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow. No. Ha, ho. Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow.
Move your flag, comrades.
Comrades, I want to let you know that young man is the former guild president at the University of the West Indies. That is the kind of young people that we attract in the People's National Party.
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again. Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces principles of good governance in this country.
The perspective with Perry Cummings Jr. Big up yourself. The best is yet to come. This is my perspective. Telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me objective. Scandal after scandal. Look where Jamaica come to. Them rob the money and a thief a lot too. Election tactics, what a disgrace. Them cut off ribbon and the place. No safe, Mr. Prime Minister. Are you me a address? Police a kill off the youth if you check. Talking about the way country are the best. But though this are my perspective, telling you my perspective. These are my perspective to bring change that I feel.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, blessings, 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 blessings to you all. I hope that you are okay. I hope that you are doing well. God is good. It is the 14th of April. It is the 14th of April 2026. And might I add, ladies and gentlemen, that we are living in serious times. I saw Parliament today and it was disappointing. But we will come to that a little later down into the show. Please to like up the live, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, we have our super chat up. Remember, we have Zelle Cash App. Thank you for all those who have been supporting. Remember, if you're watching and you're unable to comment, it's because you're not a subscriber. If you want to participate in our conversations, ensure that you touch the subscribe button, touch the notification bell so that you will get a notification when we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, aren't you happy to be among the living and not the dead? While, you know, it's not perfect, we still have a lot to be grateful for. We still have a lot to be grateful for. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe it is prudent for us to take even a minute to tell the Lord thanks. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, oh, how we need the Lord. It's a long time I don't really sing a hymn, you know. It's a long time I don't sing a hymn, ladies and gentlemen. I need thee every hour, most gracious Lord. No tender voice like thine can peace afford. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Come on, perspective. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. I need thee every hour. Stay thou nearby. Temptations lose their power when thou art nigh. Everybody everywhere sing, I need thee, oh I need thee. Jamaica, we need you. We need you, Lord. Every hour I need thee. Oh bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. Oh bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. Verse 3 is a very beautiful verse. I need thee every hour. Listen. In joy or pain, come quickly and abide. All life is vain. I need thee, oh I need thee, my God. Every hour I need thee. Oh bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. Oh bless, come on somebody, me now, my Savior. I come to thee. My God, if there ever a time we need the Lord, we surely need him now. We need him. We need him. Roll call. Let me know where you're viewing from, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Perspective, and I'm your host, Perry Cummings Jr. It's the 14th of April, the best month in the year. Pardon my bias, right? But we are going on. We're keeping on. Yes, come on, St. Elizabeth. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Falmouth, blessings. New York, blessings. Westmoreland, Florida, blessings. Silo, St. Elizabeth, East Portland, Maypen, Clarendon, Canada, blessings, blessings. Kingston 20 is in the house. Burlington, Vermont is here. Mountain View is here. Longville Park, Clarendon is here. Southeast St. Anne is here. Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. Curacao, Spanish Town, Manchester, Queens, New York. Montreal, East Portland, Port Antonio. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen. Like up the live. Bob Walk is in the house. Maryland is on board. Yes, 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 yes. Somebody said they're tuning in from Finland. VA, Richmond, Georgia. Blessings, 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 blessings. Inwood Village. Greetings and salutations. Somebody is at Kingston, but they're on at work just the same, tuning in. Yes, man. I am so excited, ladies and gentlemen. Edgewater, Portmore, Cayman is here. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Queens, New York, Rosedale, none such East Portland. Big up Spain Town on my place. That, you know, we're here. Mona, my place too. Philadelphia, Santa Cruz. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining with me every evening to have these very important conversations. Philly is also here. You know, as I hear Carol say, come on in the room, there's an old song that we learned growing up. You know, there's an old song. The lady would say, come on in my room, won't you just come on in my room? Jesus is my doctor and he writes all my prescriptions and he gives me all my medicine in my room. If you are sick and you're on The Perspective, just listen what you need to say. Tell Jesus, come on in my room, won't you just Come on in my room. Jesus is my doctor, and he writes all my prescriptions, and he gives me all my medicine in my room. I'm from that old school. My God, sometimes I wonder if I'm an older guy in a young man's body. But ladies and gentlemen, it's quite unfortunate the condition Jamaica is in today. If I did not know better, I would think that Jamaica is on the brink of collapse politically. There is absolutely no good governance that we can look to from this administration. Thank you, Mary Walcott. There is absolutely no good governance to look to when you look at the Andrew Holness led administration. And it is quite disheartening. As a matter of fact, it is repulsive when you entertain the thought. Today, the People's National Party had their press conference regarding the post-Melissa housing crisis. Likewise, today was the PAC meeting chaired by Sir Julian Robinson, and today was also Parliament. Well, a very short session really. It was just to entertain the Prime Minister and his proposal where the NARA bill is concerned. Well, for my viewers, you know how I feel about NARA, and I could sense that the opposition was also skeptic with NARA, but we're going to get to those conversations in a bit. Still entertaining the conversations regarding the Big Wall shooting. Popular podcaster Jay Frey and popular dancehall producer Javi Dunn, primarily known for his work with 450 young dancehall artists, they kicked off on Sunday night. But a part of the conversation that we're not having enough is the fact that a bystander was injured in the punches and gunfire, ladies and gentlemen. And it is so sad that somebody who had nothing to do, well, based on what I'm hearing, this person had nothing to do with it. It seems as if this person is looking to do a lawsuit of some sort, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm getting to understand, Carol, that this is a US citizen. But because Jamaicans can be so unruly, and let me say this, time and time again, we talk about this bad man culture that is in Jamaica. Everybody wants to prove a point. Everybody wants to show others that they are the man. But here it is now, a US citizen had no business with this altercation, yet this US citizen on vacation is now in critical condition, ladies and gentlemen, because of nonsense. A podcaster said something about an artist and the artist's entourage feel like they should see the podcaster in person and step to him because it is badness it name. But Yvonne Riley, you know, it is this government, it is the first administration that I've seen in the history of Jamaican politics, and I want somebody to even try and challenge me. This is the only administration that I know of that dancehall artists make songs about the Prime Minister in a way that is alluding to the character of the individual and the administration that he leads. Wasn't it Chronic Law who said, what make them vex? True me no beg, make friend of money me make. Gone uptown with a little need preps. Gun pam belly the berita never left. Government badness, Andrew Holness. Wasn't it this administration, ladies and gentlemen, that was the topic for many of these dancehall artists and their lyrics, ladies and gentlemen? Andrew Holness has brought in what we call government badness, and it has trickled down throughout all society, and because of that, our young men and young women, they don't know how to resolve conflict without using brute force. It is a disgrace. The only way that dancehall artists known for singing lewd music, singing songs that promotes gun violence, chopping, scamming and corruption, the only reason why an artist could sing such a thing about a prime minister and his administration is because of what the prime minister and his administration shows.
And if the enemy are fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say pop, 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 pop. God, badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ.
Labor rights don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Am I making up stories, ladies and gentlemen? It is true. It is this administration that has set the tone, E. Marie. It is this administration that failed to be an example for our young men, our young people to follow. That in and of itself is a disgrace, and it is an indictment on our leadership, ladies and gentlemen. But listen to what the victim said, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hearing that he is facing long-term disability.
And one of the victims injured in the incident says he's facing potential long-term disability. The man is a U.S. citizen. In a statement to the media, Jeremy Watson, who was a bystander, revealed he sustained injuries from a stray bullet which entered via his elbow and exited through his upper arm. Mr. Watson is among 3 men being treated at hospital for bullet wounds in relation to the incident. His relatives say he will be transported to the United States to undergo urgent surgical treatment.
He has to fly out first thing in the morning to actually go and do surgery back in his home country, which is the United States. He is traumatized, shaken up. He comes every year during this period, during the carnival, to actually, this is his season, you know, and he normally carries his friends and family members. So he's distraught, heartbroken. Words can't describe it. He lost a lot of blood. Passed out several times on the way to the hospital.
The relative further complained that the inadequate emergency response also compounded the situation.
The ambulance that they had on the scene as well, it wasn't properly equipped to even stop the bleeding. We had to use like a belt from one of our pants. It's just a lot. It's just a lot, you know. And we just want to thank everyone who has been reaching out thus far. But in regards to this surgery, he has a lot of nerve damage.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is unfortunate. It's disgraceful. And I'm just trying to be modest here. But it is disgraceful, ladies and gentlemen, what took place on Sunday. But we have more problems to look into, ladies and gentlemen. And it is falling in line perfectly, because if you heard what the caller said, or the relative of Mr. Watson, he's making it clear, ladies and gentlemen,
that there was a lack of swift medical attention on site. And it seems to be a trend, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lack of medical presence at a lot of these gatherings and events. And that is something that needs to be seriously looked into. It is very concerning. But, you know, residents in Salt Marsh, they protested over lack of water. And the National Water Commission is saying that 30% is where they are in terms of completion. This country is suffering on many levels. It's a lack of water, lack of roads. It is. I'm trying to understand. What are we paying taxes for in this country? Every purchase you purchase, every time you get paid, something gone out of your pay. Every money every dollar you spend in this nation, ladies and gentlemen, you get taxes come out of it. So I'm saying, if we are paying so much money in this nation, yet basic services, there's a lack of essential amenities, ladies and gentlemen. And that for me should be a concern. Why is it that in 2026 people are still complaining about no water? Are we truly on a path to progress and to prosperity, ladies and gentlemen? In 2026, an island in the tropics, and in 2026 people don't have water.
Residents of Salt Marsh near the St. James Trelawney border are livid this evening due to the lack of water in their community. For the past 6 months, they staged a protest to vent their frustration. Andrea Chisholm reports.
No, it's not a landslide. These big boulders used to block the Salt Marsh Main Road were to send a big message to the authorities.
Water! Water is life!
Even this dog stood in solidarity. Others cautiously maneuvered the obstacles. Minutes later, the Trelawney police were on location having a talk with one protester and maintaining the peace. Residents seemed calm on the outside, but on the inside, a raging inferno.
For the past 6 months, I have to be purchasing water, and I'm still being billed from the water commissioner. They tell me that they billing me for service. So I ask them, what service? We don't have any water from the 29th of October. We don't have any water. And I have to be spending at least $3,000 a week for water. And it's ridiculous. I'm not working now. They expect me to be paying for the meter that's not running. And no water.
We had good water supply until the hurricane came and disrupted the pipeline from Davis Pen down to Salt Marsh. Right? We've been given promises. Right? The Water Commission personnel did come and start work, but all of a sudden they disappeared. So still, as we speak, there's no water in the pipe.
Because of the protest, less than 20% of students turned up for school at Salt Marsh Primary. That school is now dependent on trucked water from the National Water Commission, NWC. Speaking of the NWC, what has been their response?
Water Commissioner said they can't afford the pipe. That is not right.
But in a release on Monday, the NWC said even before the hurricane, there were issues with the pipeline for the Martha Brae Salt Marsh area. After Hurricane Melissa, 3 kilometers of pipeline infrastructure were significantly impacted, leading to the need for extensive repairs. Work on the affected pipeline in sections of Salt Marsh is now progressing steadily. NWC says work is approximately 30% complete. Some people should get water next month, as phased restoration is scheduled to begin on May 15. In the interim, water will be trucked to the area. Regarding reports of customers without water being billed, NWC says investigations have begun and affected customers should contact the entity. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Jamaica Labour Party is clueless. I am almost certain I saw a regular JLP viewer in the comments asking the PNP what are their plans to ensure that the people in this community get water. You cannot make it up.
Aim. Sakata. We are mash up, fire under the Holy Ghost. Every crisis, every condition, every operation of hell. Fire, Bishop. I got your back. Fire. Jesus Christ, watch the operation. Jesus Christ, this would Park Road. Come. Cover your pastor. Going, Bishop. Take down the Illuminati. Take down the voodoo. Take down the Freemason. Take down the witches. Take down the warlock. Take down the Wabiaism.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a clueless government, clueless supporters. I told you that the Jamaica Labour Party, the Andrew Holness-led administration, they have no clue as to what they are doing. Don't think that I'm saying these things, ladies and gentlemen, because it sounds good. It is clear, ladies and gentlemen, that these people fought hard for the third term. Something, ladies and gentlemen, that they wanted so badly, yet you don't have a clue as to how to govern. You don't have a clue as to how to govern, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot understand. Didn't this Andrew Holness administration, isn't it the best thing since independence? That's what many Labourites say. That this administration, they have all the answers. As a matter of fact, what this government has done time and time again is to find every way to exclude the opposition out of their intimate planning as it relates to matters concerning the nation. They are clueless, and instead of engaging the experts, instead of engaging the opposition, instead of seeking a second opinion, they try to keep the opposition out of the deliberations. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is leading up to a grand shaking that must happen in this government. Look at Cliff Hughes running under the table. Eh?
Wow. We are having an earthquake. Oh God.
That's an earthquake?
Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot make it up. So let us tarry a little bit on the water issue. As usual, we have to put context to the situation. You have 5 basic needs. My brilliant perspective family, let us educate the Labourites. Who can tell me in the chat what are the 5 basic needs for human survival? Let us delve into what I believe every adult should know. You know, so yeah, but I understand if Labourites are slow. A lot of them, they don't really like education. And if they saw a book and salt fish, they would go with the salt fish because the book cannot be eaten. But what they fail to understand that is if you read the book, you would probably get the knowledge as to how you could get several different types of fish, not even just salt fish. But you have basic needs, ladies and gentlemen. And water is one of them. At this juncture in human history, at this point in time, in this technological age, Maslow hierarchy of needs. Thank you, bros. You are a brilliant one. Food, water, clothing, and shelter. Some may call it air, water, food. It's basically the same thing. Water is critical for any human being to survive. The fact that this government has failed to provide what should be readily available for your people to consume, because without that you are setting up human beings to perish, it is definitely a call for concern. That should be priority. Water, Lorna Marriott, is life. It is not a fancy saying. It is not a fancy saying. Water is life. You need water to do several things. And the fact that we are having this conversation tells me that the current administration, they are incompetent beyond repair. You don't think it is important for you to ensure that the NWC make it a priority that whatever pipes are damaged are repaired? The first thing that the government should have done, ladies and gentlemen, is to mobilize a national repair strategy or program after the hurricane. Because we know that because of the hurricane, several roads, infrastructure, drainage systems, pipes, and what have you would have been damaged. You don't need Einstein to come from the dead and tell you that. We didn't see a national rollout of repair being done where these pipes are concerned. We didn't see that. They are now just trying to roll out the national thrust forward to fix roads and to collect garbage. They waited until the next year to begin doing that. That is something that should have been on the forefront of your brain, labor rights. Pipes would be damaged. So the first thing you need to do is to get an assessment done, because since the Jamaica Labour Party don't know how to govern, and because we care about Jamaicans, let us help the labor rights. So for the labor rights over here, what the NWC and other service providers should have done not too long after the hurricane passed was to do an assessment of damage. That's what you call it. You assess the communities that were severely impacted by the hurricane, because you're going to do this based on a needs assessment basis. So you identify the areas that were most damaged by the hurricane. You look at the pipes, you look at the connectivity, you look at all of that, you do an assessment, and you begin there. It should never be, ladies and gentlemen, that after so many months after the hurricane has passed, people are still holding up placards. We want water. This is a basic need. Any good government, any reasonable government should ensure that the basic needs of your citizens are available to them. That's the fundamental thing. And if you are unable to provide those basic needs, then don't come to me with your grand speeches about innovation and tapping into that industry and tapping into that industry and doing this and doing that and doing all sorts of things. If you're unable to provide water for your citizens, don't come to me with ideas that are way out of your league. Because if you cannot connect some pipes and ensure that the people are getting water, why are you trying to tap into something that is even more sophisticated than that. With the access to technology, with the wealth of information available, no community in Jamaica should have to be parading in the streets with placards talking about we want water. I am shocked though that none of those who were protesting were assaulted, because it seems to be now a call for concern, because we saw where there was a man who was protesting in Westmoreland, and the police was accused of assaulting this person who was protesting. Now I wonder, is this the reason why so many persons are afraid to protest, to voice their concerns? Because to protect the government, ladies and gentlemen, am I to believe that the JCF is being mobilized to shut down protests and to prevent persons from voicing their opinions? If that is the case, then the JCF is no better than the entourage of 450 that assaulted Jeffrey for his opinion online. So you're telling me that people cannot come out now and peacefully protest? So we're going to lock up and assault people and beat people when they come to the forefront to cry out and tell the world that they are not happy under this administration?
Something alright. Something alright, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, take this very seriously. In this democratic society, we're living under a regime where the freedom that you think you have to express yourself, to voice your concerns, it is under threat. They can't even go out again in this country and say you want a change, because you're putting at risk your life, your safety. You're putting yourself at risk of being destroyed by the persons who should be serving and protecting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in serious times. Police officers, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a concern for some time. But I'm not surprised. I've always reminded my viewers of Walter Rodney and the JLP Prime Minister back then, Mr. Hugh Shearer. When Walter Rodney was a voice of reason in his day, calling out corruption, calling out for more as it relates to the poor and the vulnerable, advocating for blackness and the Afrocentrism, advocating for black identity and the liberation of the mind. The JLP administration of the day saw him as a threat. I dare any laborer to tell me that I'm telling a lie. I challenge you to tell me that I'm lying. When Walter Rodney had his soapbox moments, gathering young people at the university and in other places, having conversations about how Jamaica, the Caribbean, and African descendants can be a better race. The Jamaica Labour Party administration in Jamaica of the day banned Walter Rodney from re-entering the country when he was at a convention in Montreal, Canada. Persona non grata was the remedy for Walter Rodney. He couldn't enter into Jamaica again. That is what the JLP Prime Minister did. They don't like freedom of speech. They don't like freedom of expression. They don't like when you have an independent thought. Yes, Walter Rodney, Georgia Lynch. He couldn't come back in the country. When he went back to Guyana, that's when his enemies assassinated him. It is the Jamaica Labour Party that caused Walter Rodney to perish. Why? Because the man had his own views. Why? Because he was advocating for the poor. Just like how I'm advocating for the poor and others. Just as how people are protesting for better road, for water, for better governance. But when you don't tell young people these things, ladies and gentlemen, if young people don't know this bit of history as to how the Jamaica Labour Party despises young people, their voice, we risk this administration twisting narratives, twisting perspectives, and trying to rewrite history. Well, you see this young man here? I don't know everything, but I know enough to know that the Jamaica Labour Party is not for Jamaicans. I know enough that before this Jamaica Labour Party organization takes accountability for anything that is happening wrong in this nation, they prefer to take you out. Isn't it the same Jamaica Labour Party, ladies and gentlemen, that killed out the Rastafarians? Isn't it the same Jamaica Labour Party that had a problem with the Rastafari community speaking up, expressing themselves, talking about liberty and the Marcus Garvey movement and the isn't it the same Jamaica Labour Party that murdered Rastafarians on the day we call Good Friday? So the Rastas cheekily call it Bad Friday, because that's when Bustamante them, that's when the Jamaica Labour Party murdered in a very tragic way people who simply had a difference in opinion. Hugh Shearer, Bustamante, Siaga. Out of the belly of the Jamaica Labour Party, we continually see, ladies and gentlemen, a fight against freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of independent and unorthodox opinions. And guess who we see those same JLP traits shining through? Wasn't it last year? The current Prime Minister of this country, in a very, very divisive and alarming way, waged war against the people of this country. Me not afraid of nobody. If you make memes, I can make memes too. That's where it starts. Isn't the same Prime Minister who sent the JCF for a man that said some things about him online? They found him under his bed, forced him to do a public apology. If you check the foundation of the leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party, what you recognize, ladies and gentlemen, is that you shouldn't criticize them. You shouldn't criticize them. You shouldn't be critical of the leadership. The moment you do that, you are branded as an enemy to the Jamaica Labour Party, to the government, and therefore you become a target. We have a lot more to discuss. Let's take our first break. Soon come.
The perspective with Perry Cummings Jr. Big up yourself. The best is yet to come. This is my perspective, telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me objective. Scandal after scandal, look where Jamaica come to. Them rob the money.
And Protherapy, we are here to help you to bring ultimate relaxation to your feet. Our hot stone, Swedish, and deep tissue massage services are here to help you to get rid of tensions, minor swellings, and aches and pain, increase flexibility and circulation. If you are having any heart or circulatory diseases, then this might not be for you. Reach out to us and let's see if you can secure yourself with a foot massage for as low as $4,500. Thank you for choosing Pearl Therapy, the healing hub.
Are you frustrated with your skincare? Are you tired of acne, blemishes, scars, sagging skin, wrinkles, discoloration? Why not enjoy our wide array of products from skin, hair, and personal care? Place your frustration on our shoulders, and we will get you smiling again. The power of our products are in our formulation and ingredients. Listen to our customer testimonial. This is what she has to say.
Oh my gosh, look at my face. I've been using these products for a year, exactly 1 year. If you have not tried them, you need to try them. They really work. Look at my skin.
Visit our website or contact us at 917-557-6204. Make it Tony and Organics and order yours today.
And food is designed to be felt, not just tasted. Soft warmth, gentle richness, a harmony that melts effortlessly on the tongue. At Cummings Exquisite Caterers, every dish is an invitation, guided by passion, finished with elegance. We cater for life's most meaningful moments, elegant weddings, private celebrations, and much more. With a serene repast center just 10 minutes away from 2 major cemeteries. We are located at 38 Dublin Spanish Town Road. Reach out to us, 876-573-9124. Cummings Exquisite Caterers, where desire meets.
Our first social media question tonight comes from Instagram. Shania in Kingston, she says, low voter turnout suppresses the effectiveness of a democratic society. Many Jamaicans refuse to vote because they believe both parties are corrupt. What would you say to the significant population of non-voters? And if elected, how will you hold politicians accountable for offenses against the people instead of protecting them?
So in this instance, the question, you have 90 seconds to answer, and we begin with Dr. Holness.
Corruption is a serious problem in our country, and corruption requires strong leadership. From my position as Prime Minister, I have taken action against any member of my political party that has been involved or accused of anything that suggests corruption. In my own case, I have been investigated for a year with an expert forensic auditor. The findings of that report have suggested no corruption. There have been no charges. Every aspect of my report, every aspect of my personal life and my personal financial details are in the public domain. I am the politician about which Jamaica knows the most. And therefore, I am the politician who can stand with the greatest moral authority to treat with any matter that is considered corrupt, as I have done in the past. And I want to give this assurance to the Jamaican people that you know me, you know about me, you can trust me, and you know that I stand against corruption.
Mr. Golding has the opportunity to respond to that social media question as well.
Andrew, what they know about you is that you have 28 bank accounts, that you received several $1 million in cash deposits from anonymous donors in your bank account, that your companies had transactions of over $400 million, several thousand transactions between them, and that Positive Jamaica Foundation, a non-profit which you are intimately connected with, provided resources which you use for personal investments through your personal company. We have signed the Leadership Code of Conduct developed by Integrity Commission. All of our spokespersons and myself have signed. None of your people have signed it. I am committed to ensuring that all members of the executive, when we form government, will have their Integrity Commission declarations published, not just the leader of the opposition and what should happen, but hasn't happened in your case because you're not certified, the Prime Minister. So the whole question that has been asked is an excellent question. And we really need to step up our vigilance against corrupt behavior, nepotism and cronyism. The volume of scandals under this Jamaica Labour Party government is unprecedented. Over the number of ministers who have had to be removed from frontline duty, many of them parked in the naughty corner in OPM rather than being sacked. It is a disgrace to the country, and your personal situation where you're operating under a deep cloud because your Integrity Commission declarations are not certified, also is something which Jamaica cannot go forward with.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is The Perspective, and I'm your host, Perry Cummings Jr. I tell you, that clip is my favorite clip. Was one of my favorite clips with Mr. Mark Golding. I was told by my viewers to hold on to that clip for a very long time. It will come in handy. Ladies and gentlemen, the other day, yesterday actually, members of the staff at the UHWI staged a protest over salary restructuring exercise. I touched on it yesterday as to why UHWI is in the predicament that it is in today, because of the lack of funding and support from this administration, the Andrew Holness-led administration. For more information, ladies and gentlemen, listen to what happened
at the news now. There's uncertainty at the University of the West Indies Mona campus this evening after members of staff staged a protest at the facility on Monday. It follows what has been described as the university's failure to implement a new salary structure despite recommendations made in 2022. Kalisha Williams reports.
Campus police on standby. A chorus of shouts from angry protesters in the background. These workers at the University of the West Indies used their lunch hour to vent their frustration with the ongoing salary restructuring at the university.
I think everyone is aware about the government reclassification, right? So that was 2022. So a similar process occurred here at the University of the West Indies. They use the same company, Ernst & Young. And that report was done from 2025, and they kept the report. We weren't able to see the report.
One of the workers who wished to remain unidentified said since then they have received no favorable update from their unions or the university.
Every now and again we'll get a letter to say they sent off the report to the government and they're waiting for a response. So that's the last thing we heard, and that was March 6th. They said they would hear back from the government regarding that. And mind you now, this is going from 2022. And they said the government requested 2 weeks to review the document. When the 2 weeks came, they said they're requesting an additional week. Up to today, we haven't heard anything from them, like if we're going to get back pay, what our new salary is going to be.
We were told the workers were given a 14% interim increase in 2023 until the salary restructuring exercise was done. But since then, they have not seen any changes in their salaries.
We're all demotivated. No one wants to be here because we said earlier that it's government and UHWI. So there's staff here that works for the government that is getting government salary. So they're getting more salary than us, and we're doing the same job.
But according to campus registrar Dr. Donovan Stanbury, the university has been in constant communication with the unions representing the staff. He told us that the report is with the finance ministry and will be finalized soon.
I wrote to all the union heads on the 19th of February advising them of our last meeting with the union and what the outcome was, and that the ministry will get back to us by the 6th of March. That has not happened because the ministry needed a little more time to do their review and make their final recommendation. At every step of the way, all union heads were apprised of what is going on.
He added that he received no formal letter from any of the unions representing the staff asking for further updates since the advisory was sent.
From time to time, people call or send a WhatsApp, but I'm always engaged and tell them that we are in touch with the ministry, clarifying different parts of the report because it is very technical, and then the ministry will get back to us.
Okay.
So to say that they're not engaged and they don't know what is happening is patently false.
Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
Let me tell you all what has been happening, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you, I hear persons wanting to blame UHWI. In the sense that they want to blame the administration of UHWI. Really and truly, it is not the administration of UHWI that should be blamed. The reality, ladies and gentlemen, is that the University of the West Indies is a government-funded institution. 17 different countries contributes to the UHWI. The different campuses across the region. Our government should be contributing a certain percentage to the UHWI Mona campus. They have been reducing that funding significantly. And because of that, the University of the West Indies had to find creative ways to fund their deficits. They had to find different ways to pay their staffs. They had to find different ways, ladies and gentlemen, to keep the institution afloat. And one of the ways in which they had to do this was to raise the tuition, housing fees, and other miscellaneous fees for students. So the root of the problem, ladies, because there has to be a source of the problem, you know. The source of the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that this government refuses to invest in any meaningful way in our tertiary institutions. And who feels it at the end? The students, the workers. It is always the little man that has to feel the pressure, because the ones who are in charge, they refuse to do what is right. They refuse to do what is necessary to ensure that the people can have a hope. My God, man, under this administration, people are just suffering left, right, and center. The suffering, ladies and gentlemen, it is great. We're coming to the MPs out of the western part of the island. The opposition MPs lamented today as to how poor the response has been from the government. Anybody watched the press briefing today by the opposition? Did you hear how dark and dismal it is looking for our fellow Jamaicans? Did you hear how backward the government is? The direction that Jamaica is going, ladies and gentlemen, it is not forward still into prosperity. It is over precipice. It is like a train that is going 200 miles per hour, no brake, no conductor, no driver, and it is just going and going and going. But upon the horizon, there is a cliff. And labor rights are on the train saying, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. We are move fast. That is what the Prime Minister said in Parliament today. We have to move fast. And how is it that we have the world's fastest man and fastest woman talking about nobody can stop this train? Labor rights. Nobody can stop the train because it's a runaway train. And everybody who is on that train, their lives are at risk. Because the person who should be steering the train properly, they are unable to do so. But we're coming to that a little later. What I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is how I recognize, and I've been saying it for some time, there is a great selective outrage in this nation. And I'm saying, God is going to have to intervene in a very dramatic way in this nation, 13-year-old shot by cop. 13-year-old shot by cop. Shot by cop. Another innocent life gone. Where is the outcry? Where are our advocates? Where are the voices? Where are the voices to say no, no, no? This is not right. Who will be held accountable? An 8th grade student has been hospitalized with life-threatening injuries to his kidney and intestine after he was reportedly shot by a policeman during an incident his family claimed was unprovoked. The 13-year-old was on the rooftop of a bar adjoining his home in Rio Bueno, Trelawney on Sunday night when a uniformed cop, inside the venue fired a single bullet that struck him. So now this 13-year-old is battling for his life. Battling for his life. A shot to the kidney, intestine, in critical condition. These are the people that should be serving and protecting. But sir, see, only when there is something that can be connected to the PNP, you see all of these so-called bloggers come out. And I recognize a trend. Don't you recognize? JLP bloggers only talk about things that are politically involved. Don't you realize? Ladies and gentlemen, think about it. Name me one JLP blogger that continuously advocates for all Jamaicans. They don't talk about issues that are affecting civilians. They only talk about politics. Once it has to do with PNP, they talk about it. Once has to do about deal with JLP, that's when you hear them. But these matters that are also very concerning. A child, a baby, shot by a police in critical condition. There is no voice out of the Jamaica Labour Party to come out and say, no, this is wrong. We need justice. The police must be held accountable. You don't hear them on these matters. And that's the reason why I say, ladies and gentlemen, that JLP supporters, they love Jamaica Labour Party, not Jamaica. They love the JLP, not Jamaica. Ricardo, they ignore everything that has to do with the average Jamaican, the day-to-day struggles. They don't care about Jamaica. And that in and of itself is a call for concern. You cannot tell me that you love Jamaica. You cannot tell me that you are a Jamaican citizen. You cannot tell me that you are for this country and you have the best interest of this nation at your heart. Yet on these matters, there is a lull, there is a deafening silence from you people. But as soon as there's something related to the PNP, that is when you hear, that is when we hear you talking. It is a dangerous path that we are on. I've oftentimes said it. You cannot be caught up in your tribal politicking. It is time to address real issues. You are all waiting to pounce on something that can probably be spun in a way to make the PNP look bad. But in doing so, you are doing a disservice to Jamaicans, because you all have platforms too. But when you don't talk about other issues and advocate for other issues, what you are doing, labor rights, is that you are doing more harm to Jamaica by not exposing other matters. Why no labor right can't come talk about this? Why no labor right cannot say no police commissioner? This is a trend that needs to stop. Too many innocent lives are being lost at the hand of those who nobody is coming out to say anything about these matters. You know what else the Jamaica Labour Party is silent on? The University Hospital, ladies and gentlemen, owes over $40 billion in unpaid taxes and fees. Over $40 billion in unpaid taxes and fees. Where is the Jamaica Labour Party to string up the University Hospital upon the line and flag them? Not one of you come out to have your outrage against the University Hospital. But as soon as Jack then come up and Mr. Dennis come up, the whole town will line up like hogs and goats. Where are you now to hold the university accountable? When I was holding the university accountable, I want to say I bias, my bias. But the University Hospital owes over $40 billion with a B. B as in boy, B as in bat, in unpaid taxes. And not one of you bloggers about to ask questions for the Minister of Health to answer. Don't tell me that 40 billion in unpaid taxes and fees don't pay up and the Minister of Health don't know about this.
So them on fire. And if the enemy on fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say pop, 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 pop. Lord God, badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ, what is what pop, 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 pop. Jesus Christ, war tonight, Bishop. Warfare tonight. Warfare. Badam, bam, bam, bam. Boom, boom.
Tufton must go. Tufton must go. Tufton must go. Tufton must go. He must resign, ladies and gentlemen. Tufton must.
Aim. Sakata. We are mash up, you know. Fire under the Holy Ghost. Every crisis, every condition, every operation of hell. Fire, fire, Bishop. I got your back. Fire, fire. Jesus Christ, watch the operation. Watch the operation. Jesus Christ, Eastwood Park Road. Come. Cover your pastor. Cover your pastor. Go in, Bishop. Go in, Bishop. Take down the Illuminati. Take down the voodoo. Take down the Freemason. Take down the witches. Take down the warlock. Take down the Wabiaism. Him under the Holy Ghost, you know, left him.
40 billion in unpaid taxes. That is what the university hospital owe. And you're telling me that Christopher Tufton don't know about this? Now let me tell you this. And this is how I know it is a very precarious position that the minister has found himself in. Because if Minister PR Boss is going to say, well, Mr. Perspective, I genuinely don't know how you could owe $40 billion in unpaid taxes and fees, that in and of itself is a problem. And if the Minister of PR, because that's really what he is, should say to me, well, Mr. Perspective, you're right, you know. I am indeed aware of the 40 billion in unpaid taxes and fees by the university hospital. Everywhere you turn, Mr. Tufton, Maka going to juke you. And that is the reason why Perry Cummings Jr. is calling for I have been calling for your resignation from last year. And that is the reason why from the election season, them say, Perry, why you beating Minister Tufton like that? It is because he's the worst minister in Parliament today.
Because one by one, uno go into jail. One by uno go into. One by.
So you're telling me that as the Minister of Health and Wellness, as the Minister of Health and Wellness, you don't know nothing about this big scandal? You are so out of the loop. And you are the minister, you know, yet you are so out of the loop that you are going to tell me that you don't know about this 40 billion? Ladies and gentlemen, wake up. wake up, smell that strong, good old Blue Mountain coffee, and recognize that these people, they are blatantly taking Jamaicans for complete idiots. The hospital up by Papine has been left to run amok, and Minister Tufton refuses to fire anybody. Remember, we spoke about that. Minister Tufton said that there is a dysfunctional culture up by the University Hospital. Those are his words. A dysfunctional culture that has robbed Jamaicans $40 billion in taxes and fees not paid. And you don't think that is enough reasons for you to fire somebody? Miss Curiosity Kid, I am going to go back in prayer and ask the Lord if this is it. Because from the beginning of the year, I told you all on the perspective that a major scandal is going to come out this year. God, is this it? Is this it? Could this be it, ladies and gentlemen? It cannot be, ladies and gentlemen, that the minister is going to try and avoid taking accountability for what has happened at the university. And as usual, ladies and gentlemen, this government should not take accountability. Why? Why shouldn't you be held accountable? Why shouldn't you be held accountable, Minister Tufton? Who is the minister?
People's National Party Media Unit.
Today, I am making a call for an immediate independent inquiry into the death of baby Ramonte Rakai Ranger at the Cornwall Regional Hospital on Good Friday, and squarely placing the responsibility at the feet of Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. This tragedy is a direct consequence of 9 years of neglect and a culture of no accountability from the minister. His consistent pattern of denying involvement and deflecting blame must end. The unfinished corridors of Cornwall Regional Hospital are monuments to this government's failed leadership. Jamaica deserves action, not another PR moment. I am feeling profound sorrow for Shandale Ballantyne, the 33-year-old first-time mother who left Cornwall Regional Hospital on what should have been the most joyful day of her life, instead returning home without her child. No mother should ever suffer what Miss Ballantyne has endured, and no Jamaican should suffer because a minister refuses to lead. I am unsparing in my assessment of Minister Tufton's public response. It is a calculated exercise in evasion, promising an investigation while offering no acceptance of ministerial responsibility. Dr. Tufton has once again retreated behind process rather than demonstrating leadership. It is a pattern not only familiar, but dangerous. The numbers tell a damning story. Cornwall Regional Hospital's long overdue renovation has ballooned from an initial $2 billion to more than $23.5 billion, with no completed facility to show for it. Nearly a decade of delays, cost overruns, and mismanagement have left one of Jamaica's most critical health institutions structurally and functionally compromised. The death of baby Ramonte is not an isolated incident, but an inevitable consequence of sustained institutional failure under this administration. The minister has been at the helm of Jamaica's health system for a decade. He cannot separate himself from its failures. Accountability is not optional for those who seek power. It is the price of leadership. I am again calling for a transparent, independent inquiry into the circumstances surrounding baby Ramante's death and a full audit of systemic failures within the Western Region Health Authority. I am pledging today to pursue this matter in Parliament and through every available avenue until answers and accountability are delivered to the people of Jamaica and all sufferers of the inadequate health care that is delivered in our public health system. As the nation mourns alongside Ms. Ballantyne, the opposition will not allow this tragedy to be managed, minimized, or forgotten.
At pnp.org.
Blame must end.
Accountability, I'm seeing it in the chat, is the price for leadership. The University Hospital of the West Indies owes over 40 billion in unpaid taxes and fees. This happened under the tutelage of Mr. Christopher Tufton, the current Minister of Health and Wellness in this country. Don't tell me that we shouldn't hold the minister accountable for the corruption that has been happening at the hospital. Don't tell me that I cannot hold the minister accountable for what has happened at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. Don't tell me that I shouldn't hold Mr. Tufton accountable for the dilapidated hospitals right across Jamaica. Don't tell me that I shouldn't hold the Minister of Health and Wellness accountable for the ending of the medical program that existed long before I was born and brought into this world, that was suddenly ended overnight because this weak jellyback administration was unable to say no to Rubio and Donald Trump. We prefer to preserve this relationship because the lives of our Jamaicans depend on it. Don't tell me that I cannot hold this incompetent Minister of Health and Wellness accountable for the many woes that we are facing in this country as it relates to the health sector. Don't tell me that I cannot hold Tufton accountable for all our nurses and doctors leaving Jamaica, going for better opportunities overseas because they are not being paid properly. Don't tell me that I shouldn't hold Tufton accountable for the 27 doctors from Cuba who had to leave the Cornwall Regional Hospital, go back to Cuba, and that is the reason why the 33-year-old had to lose her baby on Good Friday. Don't tell me that I cannot hold the man accountable. He is at the wicket. He is at the wheel. Tufton must go.
So them on fire. And if the enemy are fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say pop, 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 pop. Lord God. Badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ, what is what pop? Pop, pop, pop. Jesus Christ, war tonight, Bishop. Warfare tonight. Warfare. Badam, bam, bam, bam. Boom, boom.
somebody would say in the chat, if you don't want to be held accountable, then leave. But as long as you hold that position, Minister Tufton, the people will continue to demand better leadership from you. If it is just beyond you to be a better health minister, then please step aside. But you are the one at the wicket. You are the one at the wheel. All of this is happening under your watch. Nobody's been fired at the university hospital. No executive board is being shaken up. Nobody, listen to what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. If this stream, the head of that stream is corrupt, I'm going to tell you how corrupt the head of the stream is. I'm going to tell you how corrupt the head of the stream is. When you see the propaganda machinery of the Jamaica Labour Party called Nationwide coming out to comment on the poor leadership of the Minister of Local Government, you know how terrible it is. If Cliff Hughes can come out, ladies and gentlemen, and agree that the government has not done enough to relocate the people from the shelters at the schools, it should tell you, stupid Labourite, some of you are stupid. I'm not going to say all of you are stupid, but at this point in time, you must be stupid. If Mr. Cliff Hughes can come out and criticize the administration that he clearly supports, that he has unapologetically tried to protect, if he can come out, Labourites, open up your eyes, you nincompoop. If he can come out why are you people still trying to protect the incompetence of Mr. Desmond Mackenzie?
The administration of Prime Minister Holness must get on with removing the shelteries from the schools. Enough time has passed. And I'm saying to the Minister of Local Government, Desmond Mackenzie, who I heard when being pressed on this station, saying that May 8th is, what, 3 weeks away? Minister Mackenzie, we're going to hold you to that. May 8th, we must not have one more sheltery in any school in Jamaica. Not one day must pass after May.
So them are fire. And if the enemy are fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop. Lord God, badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ, what is what pop, 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 pop. Jesus Christ. Him. Sakata. We are mash up, you know. Fire under the Holy Ghost. Every crisis, every condition.
The administration of Prime Minister Holness must get on with removing the shelteries from the schools. Enough time has passed. And I'm saying to the Minister of Local Government, Desmond Mackenzie, who I heard when being pressed on this station, saying that May 8th is, what, 3 weeks away? Minister Mackenzie, we're going to hold you to that. May 8th, We must not have one more shelteree in any school in Jamaica. Not one day must pass after May 8. But that does not
Ladies and gentlemen, when you see the propaganda machinery, the well-oiled and well-funded propaganda machinery coming out to criticize Mr. Mackenzie in such a way, it speaks to the severity of the situation. Not even the propaganda machinery of the JLP can lie and cover for them any longer. Of course, a shame. Cliff use shame. Ricardo, him shame. We cannot play politics. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot look through political lenses on these matters. A school is no place for a shelter. A school is no place for a shelter. For so long, promises after promises after promises after promises. And we should not have anything to say about it. Ladies and gentlemen, how much more can we bear? You know what the labor rights prefer to do, ladies and gentlemen? They prefer to have the people in the schools. They prefer to keep the people in the schools than to build out proper shelters for them. Than to build out shelters for them. The Jamaica Labour Party administration, they don't want to spend any money on the people of this country. After 6 months and people still in the schools. So where's all of the billions of dollars that you have all boasted about, that you took on as loans? And you were doing, oh, it is because of our fiscal discipline why people can trust us to flood full up our pockets with money. What are you doing with the money? Under no circumstances. 3 months should have passed and we still have families at the schools. But instead of addressing the issues, you want to talk about JTA president, you want to talk about this and you want to talk about that. Focus on the matter of hand. Nobody should be at these schools for such a long period of time. But always deflecting, always gaslighting, always running from the truth, always avoiding the issues, always avoiding the relevant conversations. The truth is, and your own propagandist said it, coming from the horse's mouth, that it has been too long. Should I play it again? Should I play it again?
The administration of Prime Minister Holness must get on with removing the shelteries from the schools. Enough time has passed. And I'm saying to the Minister of Local Government, Desmond Mackenzie, who I heard when being pressed on this station, saying that May 8th is, what, 3 weeks away? Minister Mackenzie, we're going to hold you to that. May 8th, we must not have one more shelteree in any school in Jamaica.
You all should be ashamed of yourselves. People who support the Jamaica Labour Party, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You should be embarrassed nationwide. You are a disgrace. All of you. All of you are a disgrace. Look at what you've done to the people of this country. Promises after promises after promises about relocating the people. Promises after promises. No proper shelter for the people. You rather keep them in the schools, and when people talk up, you have a problem with that. A school is not a shelter. You're all a disgrace. You try to protect the government so much that you don't recognize that you're contributing to an evil that we need to get rid of. And it is the tribal political ideologies that you hold. If you love your party more than how you love your country, you are already on the path to destruction. And many of you Labourites would be the first to tell me that you are all Christians. You're going to tell me that you believe in God. You're going to tell me that you're God-fearing. How can you continue to protect and to cover up for poor leadership, lack of planning, a reactive and divisive nature from this administration? Marshy is calling. Marshy, turn me down in the background.
Yes, I just did.
Yes.
You alright? Alright, come and give you a little joke.
Yes.
You know what is May 8th?
What is May 8th?
22 days away from the official start of the next hurricane season.
My God. My God.
The hurricane season begins June, not true?
Yes, that's true.
And in the poem it said June too soon.
June, yes.
No, with what happened with global warming and the change of world things right now. Who know what can happen before June?
Exactly, with the change, yes.
So, you know, alright, your program, I can't use the word. It's a word that the Oxford Dictionary have now. One of the F words. So I want to use it by your program because of your religion and them things. I want to use it.
Respect, yes, I respect that, yes.
Yes. But to the mere Prime Minister talk again.
Oh Lord.
And he never remember for saying that the budget time I go build one new hospital. Remember to the Nietzsche and to the Pandora. I'm going to build one new hospital. And everything the man I go do, you know. Yes. And the man just have the labor right then. Just, you know, like when pick me up play and put a whole heap of something in one pan and I walk around and I shake it. This man is just going around talking out of what he sit on, you know. God, yes, Andrew Wayne. Andrew Wayne is, when you don't go and sit down, you know what God said to Desmond McKenzie. Well, me no know if you have a granted name, Mr. Willis. But Mr. Willis, you don't think you pull your pocket enough now. And you can't go to down. Next month is going to teach you. I beg you, next month is going to teach you. You're chatting too much foolishness. Talk how you cooperate and all them things that when did with GDP, did that, say, you never cooperate nothing. You want it, you tear down every Jesus thing. Andrew Willis. He's a damn liar. Oh my, well, I know you suffer from the happy life syndrome. So you cannot talk and not tell any lie. You should have looked at the person who was before you. That was Tiaga, not my favorite person. But Hurricane Gilbert do more damage to Jamaica, more than what Melissa did.
Yes, that's true.
Right? And you come in and every talk you talk about what is strategy. And if you don't, you know, that's why they don't want to be in a school because they like fool people. The hardest hurricane to hit Jamaica really is Melissa. But that don't mean it do more damage more when
Exactly.
Gilbert coming up.
Yes.
You must understand that. Because Gilbert liquid on the grill tomorrow and fine.
Yes, yes.
Melissa just touch one little part away.
Yes.
And you just run with it all the while. Biggest hurricane. You know how you want this with an idiot, you know, man, you have to stop your damn foolishness now, you know, Andrew. Our little part of Jamaica, the hurricane lick. I know everybody, hey, let me tell you, we must know, Andrew, we know. Although you're not in the school, but a long time with about how we know. You know, it's Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine together have more people, more everywhere else in Jamaica.
True.
The population of Kingston and St. Andrew have more people, more we are getting all the other parish them put together. Right? And the hurricane lick this or down this or a couple of years down this or the hurricane lick. Stop take with the fool and the amount of money we will not get. After the time we not get the money. Only they keep pussy put in. Till the next hurricane season is up on us. And you have to wait till 22 days before the next hurricane season starts. You have to take them people out of this school now. So who know, maybe by the time you take them out and the hurricane liquid, you have to carry them right back. And the world is and Desmond Mackenzie all out there, no man. You know, to say the things of us, it not going to sound appropriate. But we have enough out there, no man. We have enough out there, man. And every talk now, because of Hurricane Melissa, when Andrew man nothing to say, and we talk about the road situation, Andrew when you say global warming did mash up the road them. You did it 10 years, Andrew, when it's on Jamaica, it's worse than what you did.
Worse.
You know, Andrew, when it's then what? The people vote for you. Serve them right. Take care of yourself here, my brother.
Yes, Marshall, blessings. What a disgrace. Ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Let me highlight that, Cersei, because I saw a clip. I must commend Andre Stevens. I saw him giving I think it's a container house of some sorts to, I believe, one of his supporters. That's very commendable. And again, it goes back to the narrative from even last year. You see that a lot of the bloggers and social media influencers, you see YouTubers and TikTokers, if it weren't for these people, ladies and gentlemen, who pulled down their support system, if it weren't for these people, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of our Jamaicans would suffer. They would have suffered a horrible death. An artist, dancehall artist, international artist. Listen to what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. But the problem is, I think a lot of the labor rights are ashamed. A lot of the labor rights are ashamed of the performance of their government. And because of that, they are too ashamed to say a true yard talk, Perry. So what they do is to gaslight you when you speak the truth. I mean, it's alright, but there's a lot more embarrassment coming. Today was the press briefing of the People's National Party. And I want to say this. It is sad, though, that with all the PR and the grandstanding of the Prime Minister and his administration, one would think that Jamaica recovered from Melissa and we're on our merry way to this grand prosperity. One would think that Jamaica is in a beautiful place. Thank God that we have a set of people in this country who are willing to come out and to speak the truth. This is just one of them. I won't play the entire thing because it's there on the PNP's YouTube channel and other places if you want to watch it. But just for reference, listen to some of what Sister Birchall said.
We're asking that the government relook at this decision to close the roofs assessment database. We are deep rural constituents, and therefore when a hurricane strikes and your home is destroyed, you can't stay there. So the Ministry of Labor can't say, we went to your house and you weren't there. Of course we weren't there, there's no house. Of course we weren't there, we have to be catching with a neighbor. Of course we weren't there, we work in the city. Deep rural constituencies require more care and a better understanding of how we operate. We need a town crier to come into the communities to announce the dates when these representatives from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security is coming around so we can make ourselves available. We also require posters to be printed. They do it when it is politics time. Print some posters, put it on the shop phaser, put it on the light poles so people can know where they can get relief. And for God's sake, please stop directing constituents from the NIS office to the MPs, knowing fully well the MPs cannot assist them with their housing repair. That is the roofs program. Like MP Perkis, I was asked to invite 3 constituents to the symbolic check handing over ceremony, which was held at the West Jamaica Conference in Mount Salem nearly 2 months ago. And if you go on that page, there's a gentleman from my constituency, his name, we call him Manawal. Manawal was cheesing with me and the minister with a check saying $500,000. I asked Manawal to come with me that day and to help the minister to show that the program is working. And we went in good faith. Manawal has not even received a text message up to this point to confirm whether or not he'll be getting that check or if he should have just taken the cardboard sign and taken that to the hardware.
What a disgrace! What a disgrace!
To touch on an area that from about November of last year, the government has signaled to the country that they will be providing some 5,000 container homes to individuals who have been affected in the hurricane. They have moved to tell us that those houses would be in the island by January. January came and gone. We heard in March that the houses would be here. It is now April. It is now April. My question to the Prime Minister and the Minister with responsibility for housing, where the house them there?
So them are fire. And if the enemy are fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop. Lord God, badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ, what is what pop, 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 pop. Jesus Christ, war tonight, Bishop. Warfare tonight. Warfare. Badam, bam. Aim. Sakata. We are mash up, you know. Fire under the Holy Ghost. Every crisis, every condition, every operation of hell. Fire, fire, Bishop. I got your back. Fire, fire. Jesus Christ, watch the operation. Watch the operation. Jesus Christ, Eastwood Park Road, come, come.
Where the house? Them there? Where the house? Them there. You know, sometimes, and tell me if I'm being overly superstitious, but I believe that there is a strong delusion over this country. And I think that politics may very well include elements of the spiritual realms that we are probably not taking too much considerations of. Because it is almost impossible to believe that with all of these things, ladies and gentlemen, before our eyes, and people are going to still say 1 p.m. the government is doing well. Labor rights they're not concerned about the missing houses. They're not concerned. Okay. I'm just going to play. By the way, the People's National Party, probably I should do that first, because I don't want it, we're coming closer to that time. So probably I should. I was one of those supporters of the PNP who also encouraged the People's National Party to be very transparent with what was collected, right, to give aid to the people of this country. But I wasn't pressuring the PNP because I know that Mr. Golin, with his track record of integrity, I knew it was just a matter of time. But labor rights, I don't know why they believe that Mr. Golin is anything like the Prime Minister. Remember, one don't need to go down into any cookie jar. One is using his excess on his salary into charity. One is willing to use his money to transport their own people, his own Jamaicans, from Ukraine back home. He's not afraid to spend his money for the right things. I cannot say the same for the Prime Minister of this country. So when I heard labor rights talking about where the hurricane relief money, the PNP, I'm like, what is wrong with you people? You think Mr. Mark Golin is anything like you and the party that you support? So I am happy to share with you, ladies and gentlemen. You will not see it well, so I'll read it. I'll read it for you, my perspective family. I'll read it for you. So here you have the compassion in action, PMP's relief distribution post Hurricane Melissa as of March 31st, 2026. And they have some figures here. So 2,500 food packages were distributed. 3,000 cases of water and juice distributed. Bulk cleaning products distributed. Starlings procured and distributed in affected areas. Medical support. They did seven medical missions led by Dr. Dawes, the real doctor. I don't think we could trust Dr. Tufton in the medical field as the Minister of Health and Wellness, because we know his expertise is not really in the medical side of things. We leave him to marketing you and marketing others, but not marketing me. Ongoing medical support. We had the U.S. volunteer mission planned. Support provided to the 9 hardest hit parishes and distributed through elected representatives and reputable agencies. I quote Mr. Mark Golin's sentiments. Hurricane Melissa has tested our nation's strength, but it has also reminded us of who we are, a resilient, caring, and united people. The People's National Party stands ready to help rebuild communities and restore hope to families affected. We invite you to join us, whether by donating, volunteering, or lending a helping hand, as together we work to rebuild Jamaica stronger than before. We go down to the relief distribution channels, very thorough, very transparent breakdown here. I wonder if we could see something like this from the Jamaica Labour Party, because I think to date, ladies and gentlemen, if you should even go on the JLP's donation portal, I don't think you can see a thorough breakdown as to how much money has been collected, what the money has been spent on, what deliverables have been distributed to the parishes of this country. Correct me if I'm wrong, Labour Rights. I don't see this level of transparency from the government. I am not seeing any type of information from the Jamaica Labour Party that can give us a clear breakdown as to how much was collected, what they have shared. I wonder, where's that information? Why is it that the government that has access to billions, trillions of dollars, where is the information? And again, Labour Rights are in the chat spiraling. They're saying, oh, it's not a portal. You know exactly what we're talking about. Whether it's a portal, a website, whatsoever it is, can the government, the Jamaica Labour Party, the Andrew Holness-led administration, can you share with us the breakdown of the dollars spent? That is what we're asking. Don't crash out on us now. You ask the People's National Party to be transparent with our relief drive. We have the information here. Can you, as the government of this country, provide with us a clear and detailed breakdown of what the government has collected, what they have done? What we've been hearing is just figures thrown out here and there and everywhere. There's no not even the Ministry of Finance has provided a clear breakdown as to how the government has spent their dollars in the name of relief. This is unprecedented, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Ricardo, they're crashing out. But anyways, the relief distribution channels were, and probably still is, drop-off point at the PNP HQ, named by Secretariat, team and volunteers. We had the partnership with registered charities for barrel and container clearing. Now for the financial accountability. So the PNP Relief Fund cash donations, in total, they collected 3.94 million Jamaican dollars, and the total expended was 4.64 million Jamaican dollars. Here they had you'll not be able to see it properly here, but on the graphic, and I hear somebody says that this is also on the website. Is that the PNP's website? It should be there, but here they gave you a little bar highlighting the percentages of what was given. So for food packages, which accounted for the majority, it is 75%. Transportation is showing you how the money was spent. 21% was for transportation. Cleaning supplies 3%. Team stipends 2%, and seeds. You can't even see the percentage there to how small that was. Relief was prioritized for parishes not receiving immediate government support. Remember that we know that the government has been very slow in their relief efforts? Well, the Prime Minister said it himself. He said last year that there was a scandal, a scramble rather. Not telling the lie on your Prime Minister. Retracting that one. You said a scramble. But you know, there are so many scandals under your administration. I think you should understand why I would say a scandal and not a scramble. But you said in Parliament last year that there was a scramble with your administration when it came to the response post Hurricane Melissa. Now, what the People's National Party did was to prioritize the parishes that were not receiving immediate government support, including St. Anne, Trelawney, and St. Thomas. The Jamaica Sunshine Foundation, right? US $25,920. The Adopt a Family Program, Eastern Westmoreland, that was Dr. Dayton Campbell. All funds directed to housing support per specific donor instructions. And we all saw the first. If I try to make it, it won't get any bigger, guys. It won't get any bigger than this. The graphic itself is small. That's why I'm reading it. But for your reference, you can go on the PNP's website and you can see it much more clearer. We saw the house that Dr. Dayton Campbell showed the entire world under the Adopt a Family program. Volunteer support, we had 200 volunteers registered. Relief package preparation, medical mission. And yes, you can continue to donate or volunteer by typing in relief.pnp.org.jm. And of course, at the end of the graphic here, we are seeing thank you to everyone who has donated time, funds, or goods. Well done, PNP. Well done, PNP. Well done. Can we type well done in the chat? Well done in the chat. I think this was thorough. This was needed. This is what we call accountability, transparency, and integrity. Remember that it is the People's National Party last year that ran a campaign on integrity. So we expect nothing less. The JLP did not run on integrity, ladies and gentlemen. So don't expect to see such a thorough breakdown from the JLP or the government, right, as it relates to what they would have collected and spent. But let us just hear a few of the MPs from the West as they lamented as to how bad the situation is when you look in Westmoreland. It is so sad though. I thought that the government would put politics aside and care for its citizens, taxpayers. Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen? Can you imagine? So sad, so sad, so sad.
I went to a community by the name of Amity recently with a group that was making a donation. And one of the residents spoke to the condition in which he is living. And what he has to do is to use a tarpaulin and the back of it to prevent some of the wind from coming in is actually the side of a grave. That's the reality as to how persons are still living within the constituency. The roof program, as outlined by the government, has not benefited everyone that is affected as yet. I'm still hopeful that those who remain without any level of assistance will receive the assistance in due course. And the way in which it is structured is causing quite a bit of heartache as well. Because the fact that only selected hardwares were chosen has caused some of my constituents, for example, from Betterton, who have to go all the way to Savannah Lamar to get the supplies. They have had to be spending about 80 to 100,000 in transportation costs. So just imagine that you've received the 500,000 because your house is totally destroyed. But because we did not select a hardware in Betterton or one elsewhere in Eastern West Carolina, you have to go all the way across the parish. The transportation cost to bring the goods to where they live has caused them to be losing about 80 to 100,000 out of the soil that could otherwise go to the building material. For persons who were told that they could use this first $75,000 to do other things, like pay school fee or buy furniture or whatever it is, those persons have had to travel to Montevideo, to the remittance companies to try and get the funding from those remittance companies. And that, as you have seen in the media, has been nothing short of chaotic. I've had the discussions with the Minister about us having at least one location in each constituency, preferably if you could have one location for the hardwares in each division, electoral division. And obviously there are several other remittance companies that are there that you could use that will prevent these persons from traveling all that way. The second issue is that of businesses. To date, we've gotten some assistance through factories for businesses in the White House. But the rest of the constituencies, almost all of the small businesses were decimated, and those persons have not received any assistance at all. And that to me is also unacceptable. Because to get these persons independent, where they can fend for themselves and take care of their families, you would want to restore their livelihood as well. And those persons have not received any assistance. In terms of infrastructure, the roads were totally devastated in the constituency. I heard an announcement of a hurricane, post-hurricane road program for $1.3 billion. And $500 billion out of it was to be spent in Kingston and St. Andrew, right? And the era in which you have the major devastation, it was less than $100 million. We have not received any allocation for road repair in Eastern West. Some of the areas are impassable still, and you still have areas where it is, as you've seen in Bluefields, you have areas where there is significant compromise of the roads, which is also affecting even JP's ability to restore electricity. And as I segue to JP's, we have 7,912 total customers in the constituency. 4,073 customers currently have electricity, 3,839 customers don't. So roughly 50% of the customers in Eastern West Carolina still don't have electricity. 6 months? 6 months, approaching 6 months after the hurricane. I think more can be done. And two of the areas, Darlington and Betterton, it is actually a generator that is providing electricity to some of those persons who are not in. So we are a far way off from where we should be. I will leave it at that because I know that others will cover some of the other things.
Good morning, everyone. Let me start with the roofs program, because every single day we get numerous calls about what is happening. And even this morning on my way here, I spoke to 3 persons who had 3 different situations. One person was assessed physically, along with persons in her community was still have not heard anything, so wanted to know what's happening. Another person who called was not assessed physically, but they came into the community, took her information and said they would come back, and no one has came back. And there was this other person who was not assessed any at all, but has been to the NIS office on numerous occasions and was told she just has to wait until they come into the community. These are serious situations that we're having, because after 6 months, I've still not been able to pick up the pieces after such a devastating hurricane. And they are frustrated because they don't know what is really happening with regard to the government assistance. And this is the only substantial program
that has been implemented. And the fact is the majority of persons have not been able to receive assistance. And even those who have, the assistance is still inadequate with regards to the type of damage that they got to their houses. Dayton spoke about the cash grant where persons have to travel all the way to Montego Bay, and that has been frustrating again for the residents who have suffered in Hurricane Melissa, because what they have gone through, they should not have to be going through this note just to get the assistance that they totally deserve. The shelter issue is also another major issue, especially at the Petersfield shelter in central Westmoreland, where we still have 41 residents, which include 12 children. I was there on Sunday and again yesterday to visit the residents to hear what they're saying. And the major issue they're having is communication, because the fact is the government has made so many promises since the passage of the hurricane to them that has not been fulfilled up to today. The last thing we have heard is that by the 8th of May, they should be moving them to suitable locations. But they are disheartened because every time they hear something, it has not come through. So we're really hoping that this comes through. But the area that they have designated to put these houses, we have not seen much work being done in that area. So I'm really wondering if this May 8th deadline is actually realistic. But I'm hoping and praying that it really works out. And another issue we're having is that, as I said, with communication, even with myself, the ministry personnel came down, toured the sites, and not even the common courtesy to invite the member of parliament, who the people are calling every day, to at least have that part of communication where we can liaise and let persons know what is happening. And I think that is unacceptable. But what is really bothering everybody is the condition that the persons are living in. And when you visit the shelter, it's really disheartening. You really pray and wonder what will happen to these persons. But we're really hoping that this May 8th deadline doesn't pass. And we're also asking the minister to really think about the persons who left the shelter, because persons who would have given, they have given certain ultimatums to leave the shelter at different times. Not everybody stayed, some people left. But if you visit the communities, you see people under tents, literally, because they had to leave the shelter because they thought they would have been thrown out. So
all right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time. You know, my 2-hour mark, I normally try to go 2 hours, 2.5. So what I could do is just let Vaz finish, and then I could play Mr. Hales, and then I'll leave it at that. If you've not watched the press briefing or the conference, you can go over to the PNP's YouTube channel and watch it. But today, I'm in my band, you know. PNP did so well today. I am representing the People's National Party because they have done well. They aired out the issues. They reminded us of the realities. We cannot fall in the trap of PR by the Jamaica Labour Party and the Andrew Holness administration. If we leave them, ladies and gentlemen, to come out and spread lies and make it seem as if everything is okay, then the people will not get the help that they need. So let us just hear Mr. Vaz, the Vaz that I prefer. Because when you say Vaz, you know, yeah man, this Vaz, let us allow this Vaz to finish. We hear Ian Hales, he was very passionate, and then we wrap up, alright?
They left, but some of them are living in really deplorable conditions. So what I'm saying, the ministry has the information because you took the information from these persons. So if you need help to go and find them, you can also contact me because we know where they are. But persons who have left the shelter, we're also asking to remember them when the housing solutions are being provided. The road situation in central Westmoreland is horrible. And up to yesterday, we had to deal with a protest on the Hartford to Williamsfield Main Road where persons blocked the road because of the poor conditions. And we understand the frustration they're going through because every day traversing these roads, they damage your vehicles, they damage everything. And they blocked it yesterday. We have promised to do some temporary work, which we are starting today and tomorrow. But that is only a temporary fix, and that is from my own resources. Because at the end of the day, the resources that we are waiting on from the NWA to do patching will not come forth probably until a month or two, because we contacted the NWA yesterday We heard that we will get a new purchasing program in the new financial year, but we were not able to get a timeline from them as to what date it will be done. And we have many other areas like this across the constituency where I know people are very frustrated about what is happening. And there's also a bridge situation because we had 2 bridges that were seriously devastated in the hurricane. That would be adding to one we had before in Fuller's Field. But in Frome and Grange, serious deterioration. And the Frome one, we have had 2 major accidents already. 1 person died in a bike accident, and then we had a head-on collision after. And in Grange, up to yesterday, a car fell into the area that has been deteriorated. So we're asking the government to move speedily on this because we have not been able to hear from them as to when some serious work will be done in these areas, because we did not see anything in the budget and we have been asking, but we have not been able to get a real response from them. And before I close, just quickly, electricity restoration. Most areas in Central we have gotten electricity, but we have had a lot of pockets in different areas where some sections have light and some don't. And we have been in contact with the members of the JPS, but what is really happening, as they are saying, they are short staff. I guess because the team that came to assist has left for the most part. So the local team is saying they are short staff with regards to getting the work done. So we're asking if anything can be done to improve the levels of service that the JPS has so they can go out there and quickly restore, because I didn't have electricity for 2.5 months and it was so frustrating. So to imagine being without it for 6 months, it is really unacceptable for where we are in this country, and we should have had that sorted out by now. But I'll leave the other issues to my other MPs who will speak soon. Thank you.
Good morning. Party leader, colleagues, good morning. 6 months after Hurricane Melissa, the people of Western Westmoreland is still suffering. And how are they suffering? For those who have been called by the ministry to collect a check, they're still, majority of them are still waiting as we speak. And if you do get a call to collect a check, most of the citizens from Western Westmoreland have to travel to Montego Bay. Not in Westmoreland, but to St. James. For those that had the little shops on the corner and do a little commercial activity within a lot of our communities, they haven't gotten any assistance as yet from the government. And it is causing some hardship in the constituency of Western Westmoreland. Look, if the story should be told that 6 months after a hurricane, you'd be still waiting from your government to get a level, some kind of assistance, one. And two is that when you leave your home, I think there's no other parish now which have a garbage pile up than the parish of Westmoreland. Something has totally happened since the hurricane where we can't get the garbage in Westmoreland to be collected. So when you come out of your house, you enter the bad road. When you enter the bad road, you're running into garbage. Something has happened somewhere. And I just want to say, look, if the government chooses to neglect the parish of Westmoreland, all the tax-paying citizens of Westmoreland, I haven't received a list from government as yet in terms of who got damaged, who received checks, who's still going over Montego Bay. I haven't received any of that as yet. In terms of JPS and the constituency of Western Westmoreland,
ladies and gentlemen, we could have played everything, but it's there for your reference. You know, watching the conference today, it made me realize that there could very well be a deliberate attack against the people of Westmoreland. But I've heard from the Jamaica Labour Party supporters that the people in Westmoreland should suffer. That's what they say. They say that the people in Westmoreland should suffer. Because what? Westmoreland did not go down the route of corruption and hype over substance. Why should the people in Westmoreland suffer? Why should the people in Westmoreland suffer? They're paying taxes too. But hey, this is what we have to contend with. I'm coming down, but I have to address what I heard in Parliament today. Let me tell you something. Mark Golding was brilliant. He exposed the lying nature of the Prime Minister. Another time we can get into that. Remember that we're expecting to hear more from Dr. Dawes regarding Cornwall Regional Hospital. We're expecting to hear more about NARA. But listen to what the Prime Minister said about NARA today as it relates to accountability, transparency. I found this to be a very concerning clip, and I'm going to play it, and I'm going to give my few cents, and I'm going to leave it there. Listen.
By members on that side, that our mature democracy has produced a system where we look for process over outcome. And as you have said, sometimes we believe that perfecting the process is the outcome that we desire, regardless of whether or not the people have benefited. And I think we now have this opportunity. Yes, we must get the accountability right, the transparency right. Competitiveness is a part of our culture, and we have to find a way to have that in the NARA. We must ensure that we are developing local talent and including local capabilities. All of those things, we don't debate them. But it doesn't mean that we are going to be bogged down and move slowly because of that. The new challenge for this generation of legislators is to figure out how to create structures that are nimble, structures that are lean, structures that can respond to the disruptive world in which we exist. Structures that reward performance. I hate to use this word because it's going to be misinterpreted, but we have to have structures that reward the risk taker. Because that is how you're going to get innovation and movement at speed and pace. It is the challenge that we face. And I'm certain that the capacity elected in this room and appointed in the Senate is capable of coming up with an institutional structure that balances all of these requirements, but at the same time making sure that we move faster than we were moving before. I've always said it is a national tragedy that we have the fastest man and the fastest woman in the world, and yet we have the slowest moving bureaucratic process. Somehow it has invaded our psyche and our culture that if it didn't take long, it wasn't well done. While the rest of the world is moving way past us. While we are celebrating how well we have perfected process, and we have no celebration for how we have lifted people out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard my sentiments in recent times about NARA. I am not a fan of NARA. I heard today that the Prime Minister is saying that the opposition leader can choose somebody to be a part of. Listen, when you hear the Prime Minister speak like this, it is telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that they don't care about accountability, transparency, and doing things the proper way. They want to blame process for their lack of performance. I want you all to see the narratives that they're coming up with, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to be wise in this season. They are setting the tone for their narratives. They want to blame bureaucracy, red tape, unnecessary rules and procedures as to why they have been unable to deliver. You're going to hear them coming with the same argument about Cornwall Regional Hospital, reasons why the roads are not being fixed. They're going to come up with this as the excuse So hear them now talking about NARA and saying that we shouldn't seek to better the procedure or the process and not the results. But I would caution you, Mr. Prime Minister, because we shouldn't adopt a Machiavellian mindset where we believe that the ends should justify the means. That is a very dangerous and undemocratic way of governing. These are the heavy conversations that some of these labor right bloggers will not have. Well, let me retract that. They are unable to have these conversations because they lack the intellectual capacity thereof. But any well-thinking Jamaican could understand that this argument being posed in Parliament surrounding the Bill of NARA is dangerously setting the tone where the Prime Minister, who I believe will be the Chief Executive Officer of NARA, he has already moved NARA into the office of the Prime Minister. We are yet to hear who or even a hint at who will be the CEO. He laments about it being executively driven. It is already a secret organization of some sorts, a statutory body or whatever they want to brand it as. It is already a secretive behind the door operation. You heard how he just glossed over transparency and accountability? He's stressing results, but he's failing to slow down on the very serious concerns that we have in this country as it relates to accountability and transparency. Mr. Holness, it is in your administration that we've seen procurement breaches after procurement breaches. Don't act as if Jamaica is not a corrupt nation, and it has been more corrupt under your leadership. How are you going to talk about we are moving slow and we have the fastest man and woman, yet we are moving slow? We see what moving fast can do in this nation. It was your fast ribbon cuttings last year during the election season because you wanted to score your political points. It was your fast cutting of ribbons that landed you in hot water because one of those properties that you cut a ribbon for, it burst out in the media. Even nationwide propaganda machinery for your administration had to carry the news. The place wasn't fit for purpose, yet you cut a ribbon because what? Everything have to do fast. It was the fast procurement Lady J Love by Minister Vaz that landed us in hot water again because the procurement committee flagged the procurement process. Brought to you by Daryl Vaz. Now the Auditor General is to have a probe and investigation into the matter. It is the fast awarding of contracts. Indulge me 5 minutes more, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very important point. It is the fast awarding of contracts without proper oversight that has landed the University Hospital of the West Indies up by Papine there in the major scandal, arguably the biggest scandal of 2026. Ribbon cutting, awarding contracts, lack of observing the procurement guidelines. So Mr. Holness, if I should even give you the benefit of the doubt that you really want to get things done in this country, you have to remember the administration that you are the leader of. You are an administration that failed to sign the Leadership Code of Conduct. You are the administration that has refused to call for an investigation into the very serious allegations against Donovan Williams, sitting MP, Minister of State. Though these allegations came from within your party, leaked voice notes from Rosalie Hamilton. How can we trust your administration, Mr. Holness, when you continue to gloss over critical points of accountability, transparency, and integrity? You are not a certified Prime Minister based on your statutory declarations. So we cannot join you. We cannot join your throng of championing fast deliverables and fast processes. And this is the outcome that we want. So let us pay little to no attention to the means by which we get there. Not with your administration. Not with an uncertified Prime Minister. Not with a Minister of Health that refuses to take accountability. Not with the University Hospital owing over 40 billion Jamaican dollars in taxes and other fees. Not with the several ministries under your leadership, Prime Minister, that the Auditor General has flagged for overspending, misappropriation, mismanagement, lack of oversight, and you want us to focus more on the deliverables, the outcome, and not the process? For what? More of your colleagues to enrich themselves? So I have been watching NARA closely, and I intend to watch it even closer, because $8.8 billion will be or has already been pumped into NARA, or is said to be pumped into NARA based on what the Prime Minister has said. We cannot just run with it, Mr. Prime Minister. We need to know how this NARA will be funded, in what ways, who will be working at this NARA, what will this executive body look like, who will make up the executive body. How do we track results from NARA? How are we going to hold NARA accountable? When it seems as if the tone that you're setting is that we shouldn't question NARA, it is executively administered, and it has as if it has little to do with the people of this nation, but it is expected to serve this country? I think not. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have the time for this evening. Thank you for sticking and staying with me. See you tomorrow at 6 p.m. as per usual. Let us pray. Father, we give you thanks for your mercies. We give you thanks for your grace. We give you thanks for another opportunity to have meaningful discussions, to advocate on behalf of the people of this nation. Yes, Lord, you see and you know the injustice that many Jamaicans are facing. But Lord, we are looking to you, the one who is able to help us. When you look at the lack of transparency and accountability from some of these politicians, from this administration, it causes us to wonder, what direction is Jamaica going into? Well, I believe that it is like a free train. Lord, I'm asking you to take the wheel, be the driver. Stop us in our tracks, because Jamaica is going down a very dark path. I pray for the viewers. I pray, Lord, that you will continue to bless those who will sow, who have sown in this ministry, so that their lives will be better. These and other mercies we ask of you, in Jesus' name. And let the people say amen. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like up the live. Remember to share. Subscribe if you're watching and you've not yet done so. He abides in me. Signing out. Bye-bye.